So, what does it mean, to persuade? It is hard to give it a short and clear and comprehensive definition. Actually, it is easier to define persuasion through synonyms. Let's say that synonyms of persuasion are, to cause, to lead, to move, to dispose, to incline, to motivate, to induce somebody. But for what? Normally, an act of persuasion ends in somebody doing something, or somebody believing in something. For example, you may persuade a potential customer to buy your product. This is about persuading to do. Or, you can persuade a colleague of yours that your idea is better. This is about making believe. One more clarification. So, is persuasion the same thing as influence? In fact, the notion of influence is broader than persuasion. Influence, or social influence, can have many different forms. Sometimes we influence people unintentionally, for example by being a role model. Whereas persuasion is always intentional. We persuade people with a specific goal in mind, we know when we are doing it. Influence can be implicit, subtle, often invisible to the subject of influence, prolonged in time. Persuasion is mostly explicit. People know when they are being persuaded. Although, they might not always know how. They might not know what tactics are being used. Influence is often done in a nonverbal way. Persuasion is always done through communication, mainly verbally. That is, we use words, we use persuasive language to persuade others. But of course, imagery, stories, voice, and other aspects of communication matter too. Persuasion relies only on communication of ideas. Whereas a source of influence can be pretty much anything. Social influence is often based on social power, status, reputation, resources, such as money, knowledge, network, and so on. And, where do we use persuasion? In fact, persuasion is one of the daily routines that all of us perform. You might not be skilled in it, but you do it. We persuade others when we sell ideas to our colleagues. Parents persuade their children to eat healthy food. Psychologists and clinicians persuade their patients. Politicians persuade each other, and their audiences. Persuasion is omnipresent in our daily life. So, why not to learn how to be good at it? In this session, we will cover a broad range of concepts and principles that, if understood and applied skillfully, can boost your persuasiveness. A large part of this session's content is based on the ideas of an influential author, Robert Cialdini, who wrote such bestsellers as The Psychology of Persuasion and Persuasion. We will start with the 6 principles of persuasion, such as authority, reciprocity, and others. Then, we will talk about persuasion, a powerful technique of predisposing people to influence. Next, we will discuss 3 basic forms of social judgment, status, reputation, and legitimacy, that are important for deeper understanding of influence. We will discuss social power. And finally, I will introduce some principles of neuromarketing that can be applied in persuasion. Now you know what this session is about. You may now start the first video on the 6 principles of persuasion. Enjoy your learning.